Here are some of the things that we scientifically know increase the likelihood of a child growing into an adult with narcissistic personality disorder. And real quick, before I get to number one, I hope you also know that narcissistic personality disorder has long been shown to largely be a product of childhood trauma, right? Of course, somebody can be more biologically susceptible to certain mental health conditions, but we have seen over and over again that this is actually largely a product of conditioning, which means it's preventable, which means we're doing it to ourselves. But let me get into number one. Number one is either of these extreme parenting styles. Either the parenting style of my child can do no wrong mentality, meaning that you are conditioning your child from a young age to be entitled because you're failing to teach them empathy, you're failing to teach them accountability or perspective taking, and you kind of take this approach of my baby is literally an angel and everyone else is bad kind of thing, right? So this is the parent who's gets the call that their child has done something wrong at school, and then instead of exploring, and teaching, not abusing, teaching their child about like better ways to express their emotions or whatever it may be, they instead lash out on the teacher or the school because like, how dare you say my child did something wrong? That increases the likelihood of a child who then grows up to be an entitled adult who lacks empathy for others or has any consciousness around how their behaviors affect other people. There also is another parenting style that can increase the risk of narcissistic personality disorder, which would be completely neglectful parent, meaning that you're maybe making sure that your child is fed and clothed, but you're neglecting them emotionally. You maybe shame them for their emotions. You do not make it safe for them to express their feelings. So from a young age, they're unable to get those emotional needs met, and they start to turn themselves off to other people because they are kind of led to fend for themselves. And so they're emotionally detached and unavailable in some ways because you do not nurture them as the human beings they are and the emotions that they have. Another thing, number two, that we scientifically know increases the risk of narcissistic personality disorder, and this one shouldn't be surprising, is toxic masculinity. This is the number one reason why we have more male narcissists than we do anyone else. It has nothing to do with the fact that people with XY chromosomes, sex chromosomes, are more likely to be narcissists. Actually, that is not the case. It's that because of people's beliefs around masculinity, they are taking these sweet, innocent little boys who are just as emotional as everyone else because of brain anatomy, because we all have the same structures and parts to our brain, and then you are traumatizing them from a young age and stripping them of their humanity and shaming them for their normal human feelings and teaching them toxic masculinity. So then they grow up into these emotionally unavailable men who have zero empathy for anyone, who see other human beings as objects in which to meet their needs instead of people, and that could have been completely avoided if you had not taken that child and failed to teach them all the things that all humans need to be taught, such as emotional intelligence, empathy, etc. So I really want to stress that one here because I need y'all to understand that this is a product of toxic conditioning, not biology. So in other words, if it was that societally that it was more common to believe that you should teach girls this kind of stuff, like let's say that in an alternate universe, people believed like, oh, girls do not need to be taught about their emotions or they should be shamed for crying or whatever. Guess what would happen? We'd have even more female narcissists. But there are a bunch of female narcissists now because, again, this has nothing to do with sex or gender. It's largely about conditioning and toxic parenting and childhood trauma. So these are the things that we scientifically know increase the risk of narcissistic personality disorder. And they are preventable things. And there are others, but I don't want to make this video too long because y'all probably have already scrolled away. But for those who stayed, I hope that you learned something. And I hope that the biggest lesson here is that we realize that we can stop doing this to ourselves at any time by no longer traumatizing the humans who are coming into the world and actually teaching all humans these mental and social skills that we all need. Because we all need to be socializing with one another, and we all are human beings that have to learn how to manage our human experiences, and that includes emotional intelligence. So please do not traumatize your kids, and also really reflect on how your interactions and the way you treat them are shaping them. What messages are your behaviors sending? Because those messages could be conditioning them towards a personality disorder.